You'll give me thumbs ups or something. Good, good, good. Very good. As you know, North Queensland is currently facing down Tropical Cyclone Jasper, and that is continues to be our government's priority today, keeping Queenslanders safe and preparing for that cyclone. Right now, it is about 305 kilometres east of Cairns and is a Category 1 system. It is, though, forecast to re-intensify to a Category 2 system before making landfall between Cooktown and Innisfail tomorrow. A tropical cyclone warning is current between Cape, Flattery and Townsville, including Cairns, Palm Island and the Atherton Tablelands. As you all know, Queensland is the most disaster-affected state in Australia. Our authorities are well prepared to support Queenslanders through whatever Tropical Cyclone Jasper throws at us. Queenslanders, I'm sure, are well prepared. They know, North Queenslanders in particular, know what to do in a cyclone. I just repeat that message from yesterday. There are a lot of new people who've moved to Queensland, and so if your neighbours are new, please just check in on them, check that they know how to best be prepared. The State Disaster Coordination Centre is activated and standing up. Flood watches. There is an active flood watch, and so as always our authorities say if it's flooded, forget it. In addition, North Queenslanders might feel the effects of a severe heat wave ahead of Jasper's arrival, so that is there to be concerned about too. We are focused today and tomorrow on the task of keeping Queenslanders safe during the cyclone. The Queensland Reconstruction Authority is well prepared then to move in and do the work of reconstruction post the tropical cyclone. I do, of course, understand that some of you will be interested in and have questions about other matters. What I can advise you today is that yesterday I asked Cameron Dick to join me as my deputy in a leadership team that we will take to the Labor Party caucus on Friday. Cameron has been a strong treasurer. We have worked together to deliver a state economy, a strong state economy that is delivering for Queenslanders, one that is focused on creating jobs. We have near record low unemployment, and one where our state is focused on the big build, delivering the big projects for Queensland's future, building for Queensland's future, funded by, in part, the progressive coal royalties that Cameron has championed. I'm grateful that he is supporting me. We have been friends for a long time. We share a vision for Queensland, one where government's job is to build for the future. Caucus will meet on Friday, and the ultimate decision rests with caucus. I'll have much more to say about my leadership and the government I lead once caucus has made that decision. I am not, and I will not take that decision for granted. What I do want Queenslanders to know is that a government I lead will be absolutely focused on the task of helping Queenslanders every single day in every way we possibly can. And that's why today we're announcing that we will freeze car rego for the next year, ensuring Queensland families don't have increased car registration bills. We know that for many families, rego is one of the biggest bills of the year. This builds on all of our other work to address cost of living. Our energy rebates, free kindy, free TAFE, our increases to the patient travel subsidy scheme, our school breakfast program. This first decision that Cameron and I have taken together should signal to Queenslanders that we will be absolutely focused on the challenges that they face and for building our state's future. Before I ask Cameron and Grace and Megan to say a few words, I just want to thank my family. My wife is an absolute rock and is amazing. My kids, Sam and Bridie and Aiden, I'm so incredibly proud of. I think I underestimated how much they've felt the pressure of these last few days, and I couldn't do this without their support. My mother and father have been incredibly. They've taught me by showing me how, with hard work, you can get ahead and give your kids a better future. And I think that's what Queenslanders are about and what the Labor Party is all about. I'll ask Cameron and Grace and Megan to say a few words.
Well, thanks, Deputy Premier. I'm proud to stand here today to say I will be supporting Stephen Miles to be the next Premier of Queensland. Stephen Miles is the right person to lead our party, and he is the right person to lead Queensland. Over the last few days, I've had many conversations with my colleagues in the parliamentary party, with members of the community, with members of the broader Labor Party and the Labor movement. And it's abundantly clear to me that Stephen has the overwhelming support of our party. Accordingly, I am proud to stand here today to say Stephen Miles should be the next Premier of Queensland, and I will be supporting him when our parliamentary party meets later in the week. Stephen and I, in our time working together, have developed a very strong rapport and a very strong understanding of each other and how we work. I regard him as a friend, and Stephen is also a great advocate of the Labor Party's cause. I'm confident that Stephen Miles will be a great Premier of Queensland. I'm honoured to be asked by Stephen to serve as his deputy. Accordingly, when the parliamentary party meets later this week, I will be nominating for the position of Deputy Leader of the State Parliamentary Party. As Stephen has said, these are of course matters that are in the hands of the State Parliamentary Labor Party, and I want to acknowledge our colleagues for the thoughtful, sincere, genuine and dedicated way they have gone about thinking about the future of leadership of our party over the last few days. I think it really is a matter that distinguishes them, that they've done this in such a mature and thoughtful way, and I want to acknowledge them, and that should give Queenslanders great confidence that when our party turns its mind to issues, we get on with it, we make a resolution, and then we look to serving the people of Queensland and delivering for them. Of course, can I say, it would be a great honour to be elected the Deputy Leader of the Parliamentary Labor Party and to become Deputy Premier. That job brings with it great responsibility. Responsibility to look after the lives, the livelihoods and the prosperity of the people of Queensland. Today we of course pause to recognise one of the most shocking acts of violence ever perpetrated against the men and women of the Queensland Police Service. But for many men and women in the Queensland Police Service today, particularly in the far north, they don't have time to pause, because from Cardwell to Cooktown and beyond, our first responders are preparing for another familiar threat as yet another cyclone bears down on the Queensland coast. So clearly there is more work to be done, and we are going to get on with the job. That work includes delivering on our government's plans for Queensland, delivering on cost of living relief for Queensland families. We're already doing that through our nation-leading electricity rebates, and now we will freeze vehicle registration for a period of 12 months from the 1st of July 2024. We are ensuring Queenslanders have a home and are safe in their home. We want Queenslanders to have timely access to healthcare, and we want to continue on our energy revolution to deliver reliable, affordable, renewable power to Queensland households and to Queensland businesses. It is only a Labor government that can deliver these things for Queensland, and we are going to get on with that job. I just want to reinforce the words of the Deputy Premier a few moments ago about the severity and the seriousness of the cyclone that's bearing down on far north Queensland. Queenslanders in the far north of our state need to get ready for a serious weather event. The Bureau of Meteorology is predicting up to 500 millimetres of rain will fall on parts of the far north. That is equivalent to the amount of rain that fell in Brisbane at the beginning of 2022. So now is the time for Queenslanders in the far north of our state to get ready, to be prepared, of course, to ensure that everything is in place as this weather event bears down. That is our priority now as a government, to focus on the needs of the people of the far north, and we're going to continue to focus strongly on that over the next few days as we get on with the job of looking after Queenslanders, supporting Queenslanders and delivering for Queenslanders.
Thank you, everyone. It's great to be here this morning, and I too will be lending my strong support to Stephen Miles and Cameron Dick. Stephen Miles as Premier of the state and Cameron Dick as Deputy Premier when caucus meets on Friday. It's been an honour to serve in this government, and they are colleagues of mine, and I've known them for many years, and we are all very close. Very proud to be part of a government that is delivering for the people of Queensland, but equally proud to be part of the leadership team of the government going forward. I know that Stephen and Cameron will lead Queensland through the best of times and the worst of times, like the cyclone that is about to hit up in far north Queensland. We will work together to ensure that we deliver fantastic cost of living relief, like the freeze on registration that we all have announced this morning, that will help families, young people with meeting their budget and obviously putting food on the table. I can't wait to roll out free kindy in 2024, another fantastic cost of living measure which will save families up to $4,600 a year. But together, I know that we will have the ability to take Queensland forward. I think Stephen and Cameron will be the best leadership with regards to us going forward. We look forward to seeing this all come about when caucus meets on Friday, and as I said, I'm very proud to stand here and lend my support. Now, with regards to the weather event in far north Queensland, I don't think we can say it often enough. Remember, if it's flooded, forget it. Great to be here this morning to be part of this great team. Thank you.
Thanks, Grace, and thanks, Stephen. Rego is really important to young Queenslanders, and every dollar saved helps a young Queenslander and a family keep a roof over their head and food on the table. This announcement today by Stephen should signal to Queenslanders that we know that there are national cost of living pressures, and that's why we are acting. We have a whole range of concessions and rebates available to young Queenslanders, to families, from free kindy, free TAFE, rental security subsidies now with this rental with this new freeze. It's really important that we are acknowledging that there are cost of living pressures out there, and that's why we're taking action. And I want to congratulate Stephen for making this decision today.
Are you now leading the left faction? Is that why you're here?
No, I'm here today because I support this cost of living relief package. It's very important to families, and of course our whole team supports the leadership.
There's no two more important issues than education and housing, and it's great to have Grace and Megan here.
People will want to know how this deal was done. What have you offered Cameron Dick, who wanted to be Premier, to be your deputy?
Well, as I said, Cameron has been an excellent Treasurer. He will remain the Treasurer, Deputy Premier and Treasurer, and together we will lead a government that is focused on delivering for Queenslanders, and that's what we've sought to demonstrate today.
Will Shannon Bader remain as Health Minister?
Yes.
There
will be changes to the Cabinet, but we're not getting ahead of ourselves. The caucus meets on Friday to elect the leadership team. Of course, what we've indicated is that Cameron and I will put ourselves forward at that meeting. After that meeting will be the time to begin discussing what the Cabinet looks like. There's certainly no intention to move Shannon from the health portfolio, no.
How will your government be different from Anastacia Palaszczuk's government?
As I said, Tim, I'll take the chance after the caucus meeting on Friday to outline in much more detail my vision for our state and how I intend to lead our state. I'm not taking the support of our caucus for granted. It's important that we follow these processes. They're important democratic processes for our party and for our state. But what I intend to demonstrate to Queenslanders between now and then is just what kind of Premier I would be. Absolutely focused on them, their safety, their cost of living, and the issues that are important to them.
This is the first.
The arrangement, if you want to call it that, I asked Cameron to serve as my deputy and to remain as the Treasurer, and that is the agreement that we have. We are a strong team. We've worked together for a long time. We share similar values, and we will lead a government dedicated to Queenslanders.
Union bosses have obviously come up with a deal here.
No, Cameron and I asked Cameron to support me for leader and to be my deputy leader, and therefore the Deputy Premier of Queensland. He will remain the Treasurer, that he will retain his current portfolio. He's doing a very good job in that portfolio, and it makes sense for him to retain that portfolio while also taking on those added responsibilities of Deputy Premier.
What role did the unions play in the deal overnight?
Cameron and I agreed to run together.
The unions, though, what role did the unions play?
Look, there's been a lot of discussions between a lot of people over the last few days, but this is an agreement between Cameron and I. I asked Cameron to run with me, and he agreed.
Are you maintaining that Gary Board offered nothing to the AWU to get them on board?
The arrangement that we came to yesterday, I asked Cameron to run as my deputy, and he agreed and has agreed to support me for Premier.
How many ministers will there be in your cabinet?
As I said, Majura, we're not getting ahead of ourselves here. The caucus, it's an important process. It's important in our democracy that the caucus, who are elected by Queenslanders, they represent the majority of Queenslanders. It's their job to select their leaders. We'll allow them to do that on Friday, and from there, we'll be able to answer more of the questions that you've got. In the meantime, I intend to keep demonstrating to Queenslanders the kind of Premier I intend to be.
This is
Jack?
the first time since 2005 that two men have held the leadership and deputy leadership of the party. How do you think that will sit with the broader party, and will you be bringing more women into cabinet as a result?
The hallmark of this government has been the number of women in leadership positions and the number of women we have as ministers, and you should expect to see that continue. We have very strong, excellent women ministers. You have two of them here in Grace and Megan. Shannon will continue to serve and be a very senior member of our team. We have Yvette Darth. We have a range of female ministers, and you should expect to see many more women in ministerial roles. That's something that's important to the Labor Party, but it's also important to Queenslanders, and we want Queenslanders to see a government that is representative of them.
Will Yvette Darth stay as AG, or we're hearing Mark Ryan might become AG?
Again, Kate, that's well beyond where we're up to now. Just yesterday, Cameron and I agreed to run together. On Friday, we hope the caucus will endorse that outcome, and then there will be decisions made about cabinet portfolios.
How many backbenchers have been given promises of promotion?
I certainly haven't made any commitments like that. I don't take the caucus for granted. The caucus is a very important process. They'll meet on Friday. Once they have chosen a leadership team, we will then settle the rest of the positions. This is about putting forward the best united team focused on Queenslanders and what Queenslanders need.
Have you spoken to Minister Drexler today?
Shannon and I had a good discussion this morning, yes.
How does she feel about the situation?
I'll let her speak for herself, but what you all know is that Shannon is one of my closest friends. We've been dear friends since well before we were elected and have continued to work closely together. She's doing an excellent job in the health portfolio. No one knows how hard that portfolio is other than me and Cameron. She's doing a great job in that role. I have certainly asked her to stay on in that role and also take a leadership role within the government.
Will the Director General of your department, currently sit plus, will he move up with you to the Premier?
Again, public service appointments come later. At this stage, we have a united leadership ticket that will seek the support of the caucus. Decisions about Director General appointments will need to come probably after decisions about ministerial appointments.
Should senior public servants be expecting another long night?
No, I think if you know anything about my history, it is a very strong respect for public servants and for their working rights and entitlements. You know, I was there in 2012. I saw what happened in 2012. I sat with people who'd been sacked in 2012. I will never, ever treat people in that way. What public servants should expect from me is to always be treated with respect, with understanding of their entitlements as workers and as servants of the public, and as someone who's always been very, very grateful for their service. This morning, I took time to thank the emergency service workers who are helping get the state ready for that disaster, helping to keep Queenslanders safe. I hope you've seen in all of the roles that I've had great respect for people who serve our state. I think the public service does a very, very good job, and I think they're probably sometimes unfairly maligned.
You spoke about cost of living, but council MPs have also been talking about whether it should not and what is going to be your approach to all of those key issues like juvenile offending, housing stress in Queensland, as well as the health system?
So today's day -3, Marlena. So if you give me some time to work through, we will have a lot to talk to you about and a lot to answer your questions about all of the concerns that Queenslanders have. Today we've focused on disaster response and safety and on cost of living, but there are obviously other concerns that Queenslanders have. We've mentioned housing. Service delivery is the most important thing government does, so health and education in particular, and supporting our police as they fight crime and work to keep our communities safe. Obviously, that will be a focus.
How soon can we expect to see an independent Olympic infrastructure?
That's something that I am now working on. I have been convinced that having an independent delivery authority for the Olympics is, at the Olympic and Paralympic Games, the delivery of Brisbane 2032 is the right way to go. I've started talking to people with experience and expertise in that. I have discussed it with the Lord Mayor. My Director General has raised it with the IOC and with the Brisbane 2032 team. So we'll start work just as soon as I get my feet under the desk on that initiative amongst all of the others, which I intend to outline to Queenslanders once the caucus has met on Friday.
You previously described that as not just another level of bureaucracy and something that could be a waste of money. Was that your position then, or were you just supporting the Premier's decision then as a loyal deputy?
Well, since then, many stakeholders have indicated that they think we could have a better model and that could deliver better outcomes. And I think when people say things to you, you should listen to them, listen closely to them, and if they're right, there's nothing wrong with changing your mind. And so in this case, I have heard what they've had to say, I've been convinced by those arguments, and now I want to work with them to get the right structure in place.
Has the Premier spoken to you today at all, and what did she say?
We've been keeping in touch, yes, since Sunday.
The biggest criticism that's been levelled against you is your close relationship with Gary Bullock, that you're beholden to him. How do you respond to that?
Oh, look, commentators will commentate. That's their job and that's what they will do. I will listen to my colleagues and to Queenslanders. My job will be to serve Queenslanders, to listen to their concerns and to govern for them, and that's exactly what I intend to do.
How do you rate your chances of winning the next election?
Oh, that is getting a long way ahead of ourselves, Jack, but obviously at the end of next year, Queenslanders will have a choice. And I intend to prove to them over the next 10 or 11 months that the best choice for Queensland is to re-elect our government, because we are absolutely focused on them and their concerns and delivering for them. We will be a government that builds for Queensland's future, and I'm confident that putting that case to the people of Queensland and that choice to the people of Queensland, once they've seen me lead and seen the government I lead, I'm confident we can win. But obviously it will be hard. We are the underdogs.
Do you plan to listen to and act on concerns of those in the party who are, and your own faction, who are obviously hoping for maybe a different outcome?
I intend to listen to everybody. What I've said to members of the team who I've spoken to today is that I'm grateful to the overwhelming majority who supported me, but that I understand those who preferred a different option, that I have to win them over. And that's my job now, to prove to them that I am the best choice to lead the state, and that I will be absolutely focused on Queenslanders. I know everyone in our team, those who were supporting me and others. I know everyone on our team has good hearts. Their interests in their heart are for Queenslanders. And so I know that now that we have a united team, I expect all of the caucus to unite behind that on Friday, and then we will be out there building for Queensland's future.
Yesterday, Shannon talked about robust capital processes, rooting things in labour values. Are those two things something that you think were non-existent or lacking?
Well, as I've said, Shannon and I agree on a lot of things, and I know Cameron and Grace and our other ministers agree on those things too. Cabinet is a really important process, and we are very well served by an excellent cabinet of ministers, and I intend to listen to all of them, to work closely with all of them, to be focused on their portfolios, because their portfolios are the interests of Queenslanders.
As Premier, Anastacia will attend meetings of the right faction. When you're Premier, will you be attending meetings of the left faction, and if not, who will be the left faction's parliamentary leader?
That's a level of detail that will need to be determined by those members of the Left Caucus, and I'll leave that to them over time, but I would be supporting Shannon to take on that role.
And it's the announcement that you guys have announced today about transport. We usually expect to see the transport minister here. Why isn't he here, and will he retain his seat?
This is a Treasury decision that Cameron and I were able to make together. We wanted to, in our very first press conference together, we wanted to signal that our focus would be on the concerns of Queenslanders and on cost of living. So that's the reason that we've made that announcement today, is so that we can say to Queenslanders, no one's pretending that this fixes cost of living, but every bill counts and every dollar counts. And I said to Cameron, after we had agreed to do this, I said, let's find something right away that we can do that can help Queenslanders, and this is what we came up with. Sorry? The makeup of the ministry, again, will be a decision for caucus, and they're decisions that will be made after Friday. So first of all, we need to... all of our ministers have my support, but the outcome, the appointments, are decisions to be made by the caucus. They're secondary decisions after the leadership is determined. So I'm not going to go any further in ruling things in or out. Decisions.
And Cameron could stay as treasurer. Why?
I don't intend to, because the caucus needs to make those other decisions. I think in the case of Shannon, it's been important for me to say that I see her having a very senior role going forward in the government as Health Minister and as a member of our leadership team. I think that's an important thing for me to have said, given what's happened in recent days. I think you would want to know what portfolio Cameron will have as deputy, and so I think that's a reasonable thing for me to have confirmed. But with regards to the rest of the appointments, I want to let caucus have their say first on the leadership team and then on the ministry.
If I was Mark Bailey listening to that answer, I'd be pretty nervous.
Well, that's the one name you've asked about. If you asked about any of the others, I would have the same answer.
Right, last one.
The rego here, that won't kick in until 3 months before the election, is that correct?
I'll let the Treasurer answer the detail.
It's related to the billing cycle for a registration, so of course that starts on a financial year basis, and we've already got rego that's being rolled out for this financial year, including people who are paying periodically, and we can't change the system. The way we change the system is on a financial year basis, so that's why we have to do it. We can't do it any earlier than the 1st of July next year. But it's an important cost of living relief measure, and as the Deputy Premier said, every dollar matters to every Queensland families, and Stephen and I know the electorates that we represent, every dollar we can help them with makes a big difference for those individuals and those families, and that's why we've made that decision today.
Just for clarity,
Thank you.
Obviously the increasing car registration is taxed to CPI. Which month CPI is that? So how much would rego would have gone up? How much would rego have gone up if you added up?
Well, we're anticipating that people will save about $21.50 for a 5 or 6 cylinder vehicle. So that's the anticipated increase that we are saving. And so again, that will be zero increase. And of course, pensioners and concession card holders, they get a 50% discount on their rego as well, and they will be paying, we'll be providing that discount to them as well next financial year. So that will continue, but rego will be frozen for next financial year, and it's another cost of living relief measure that we're rolling out on top of everything we've announced: electricity bill relief, first homeowners grant, which has been doubled, free kindy, all of those other measures that we know are making a difference to Queensland families.
What did Stephen Miles offer you that Shannon Fenton couldn't?
Ultimately, when you run in a leadership ballot, you've got to make a decision based on the views of your community, your colleagues, but most importantly and finally on your conscience. And so I've made this decision about the position I should run for. I've made that freely based on my view of who is the best leader for Queensland. And I'm absolutely convinced that Stephen Miles is the best leader for Queensland now and for the future, and I'm proud to support him. Ultimately, as Stephen said, this is a matter for the parliamentary party. The power that we get only comes from the parliamentary party, and we are very deeply respectful of the members of that parliamentary party, the communities that they represent, and the various views that they bring to our government. But after Friday, we're going to get on with the job of delivering for Queensland. We already see the next step we've taken today, and there'll be more that we'll be doing in the future.
Is it your expectation that the right faction will get more seats around the cabinet table?
We will work through all issues that arise out of a new leadership team. That happens every time leaders change in a government. We'll work through all of those issues. We have an outstanding parliamentary party. We are full of talent. We are not like the LNP, a mile wide and an inch deep, that struggle to find anyone after number 2. We've got a very talented team. We're going to focus on delivering for Queenslanders. Ultimately, this is not about us. This is about Queensland and what we can do for our state at a challenging time when we see global economic headwinds. I'll be talking some more about that later in the week. When we see global instability, when we see a cyclone bearing down on our state, our focus is on the people of Queensland, and that will remain the case every day until the 26th of October next year. Thanks, everyone.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.